If you want to know why Christian nationalism will become the dominant force in American politics, we're going to talk about it. And if you want to know how to stop it, we're going to talk about that too. This is the most important piece of content I've ever created in any medium. By the end of this video, you're going to want to call me crazy. That's fine. Your insults cannot stop the rise of Christian nationalism. So just say, oh, you're crazy. Well, okay. Me being crazy isn't going to stop Christian nationalism. Sorry, bro. I don't want to be right about this, but I am. By the way, I want to be a Christian nationalist. Like, real bad. All my enemies hate Christ and all my enemies hate fascism. So logically, it makes sense to be a Christofascist, right? I use the terms Christian nationalism and Christofascist and Deus Vult Christianity interchangeably. So bookmark this video because this will age well and you will be able to say that you saw it before everything went to, down the toilet. Okay, before we jump into it, if you want to get the uncensored version of this, you can check it out on my Substack. There's a link down in the description. So let's talk about how we got here. If you want to know why Christian nationalism will become the dominant force in American politics, we have to talk about the left. The left has spent the past decade doing everything in their power to destroy not just America, but humanity as a whole. They have deconstructed everything. Men can get pregnant, little boys should become little girls, strippers should read Korn to 5-year-olds, abortion clinics should be on every single street corner, unlimited hordes of third world, military-aged males should be allowed into every high-trust small town. That's what the left wants. The left is actively evil, and the counterweight seems too good to pass up. But there's something much darker hiding just beyond the horizon, waiting for Christian nationalists to go too far. In fact, that's the plan. The plan is for us to go too far. They know that we will go too far. And when we do, they will swoop in with their prepackaged narrative. It'll go something like, well, when the atheists take power, we get the Holocaust. When the Christians take power, we get, insert the name of whatever real or imagined future atrocity is at the center of World War III. Look at what happens. So humanity needs true spiritual enlightenment. That's their prepackaged narrative. It's all ready to go. They're just waiting for it. They're playing the long game, waiting for people like me, Christian nationalists, to take power and go too far. This is a movie that has been playing out in real time for over a century. The pieces on the chessboard are nearly all set for the rise of Deus Vult Christianity. So I referred to something dark waiting beyond the horizon. We're going to talk about that later. But for now, let's look at the arguments against Christofascism that will not work. And I urge you to watch this part because most of the people who are watching this video are going to try to use these arguments, but they don't work. You cannot stop Christofascism with these 7 or 8 arguments that I'm going to give. So, weak argument number 1, my religious freedoms. Normie Christian arguments against Christian nationalism are weak and cringe to any Deus Vult Christian. The normie Christian says stuff like, Christian nationalism undermines religious freedom. It's anti-democratic. First of all, to accept this argument, you must be a decade behind the zeitgeist. Democracy is cringe. The stolen election of 2020 should have proven this, and if that wasn't enough, Trump's complete betrayal of all his voters should have proven this. We do not have democracy. We don't even have a constitutional republic. We have a kakistocracy, which is basically rule by the worst elements of society. So that's first of all. Who cares about democracy? Second, who cares about religious freedom? All other religions are led by demons. Quetzalcoatl is a demon. Odin is a demon. Zeus is a demon. Buddha is a demon. I don't want people to be free to worship and invoke demons. We've already tried that out. It doesn't work. Actually, it does work. It works way too well. We need to stop that stuff. Religious liberty is cringe. If you want to stop Christian nationalism, you'll need to understand the mindset of someone who it appeals to. You need to understand someone who is or would be a Christian nationalist. And we don't care about religious liberty. Okay, so this argument isn't going to work on us. The way we feel is that every nation should be hypermajority Christian. Every single thing would be better if everybody was a Christian. If you disagree with this point, why even bother continuing to listen to this? Just go away. If you disagree with it, you can't stop us. Non-Christians cannot stop us. I am basically a Deus Vult Christian, and there are more of us than you realize. We are the new zeitgeist. I'm telling you how to stop us. If you disagree with how I'm portraying the state of the world, you will not be able to stop us. The future of worldly politics belongs to Christians, whether you like it or not. The future belongs to Christians because that's the movie we're living through. That's the script. Christians will be given power very soon, and then we will go too far. And then power will be taken away from us, and then the new religion will take over. And then probably the Gog and Magog war. And you might be thinking, but hey, the Gog and Magog war won't happen until after the rapture. Okay, you're not going to get raptured. You think we're in Revelation 13. We're way past that. We're probably in Revelation 20. Sorry, Jesus is not your magical space vacuum. But that's a discussion for another time. I'm not making this because I want you to agree with me. I'm not making this because I want you to think I'm smart or even sane. I'm making this because I want to be proven historically correct. This video will age well. Bookmark it. Save it. Or don't. I don't care. I'm a citizen of heaven. Our worldly struggles are nothing compared to the glory that will be revealed. When you and I see each other in heaven, it won't matter that I was 90% correct in this video, and the 10% that I got wrong won't matter either. Keep your soul focused on Jesus Christ. Test every spirit. Be not afraid. Weak argument number 2. Christofascism is unconstitutional. Who cares if something is unconstitutional? Christofascists do not care. The founding fathers are not sacred. So the arguments about things being unconstitutional, they appeal to people who aren't going to go for Christian nationalism. So if you want to stop Christian nationalism, using the unconstitutional thing isn't going to resonate. We care about Christ. We don't care about a piece of paper written by Freemasons. The founding fathers were all atheist Freemasons. The Constitution was written specifically to weaken Christianity's influence on America. Deus Vult Christians know this. We don't care about the American political religion. We don't care about Thomas Jefferson. We care about Jesus Christ. If any document contradicts the words of Jesus Christ, it should be thrown into the lake of fire. Weak argument number 3, borders are evil. There is simply no way a normie Christian can reach a Deus Vult Christian by saying, the Bible tells you to love your neighbor. Sorry, friend, but I'm not going to let invading hordes of military-aged males into my country just because you think you found scriptural justification for it. Good fathers would rather go to hell than let refugees SA their daughters. And again, the uncensored version of this is on my Substack. And look, it's not even good for migrants to come to America. They would be better served by building their own nations. Open borders is a satanic concept. As the saying goes, heaven has a strict immigration policy, but hell has open borders. Nobody who argues for open borders is honest. If they were honest, They would leave their doors and windows unlocked at night. They would invite infinite third world men to live in their houses and sleep next to them in their beds. No open borders activist does this because none of them are honest about their beliefs. No serious person wants open borders. Borders are not evil. Open borders are evil. If you disagree with this, you will have no ability to stop Christian nationalism. We simply do not care about your opinion. We are taking power away from you and your allies. We've seen what open borders does. You cannot stop us with open borders arguments. We've seen the fruits. That era is over. Weak argument number 4. Christian nationalists want harsh punishments. The normie Christian says things like, biblical justice is restorative and rehabilitative. That is true, but the problem is that normie Christians are still normies. They have not eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They are blissfully unaware that the world is run by satanic PDF files. Christian nationalists rightly want those people to suffer. We want to put elite, how do I say this? Should we call them PDs? We want to put elite PDs into wood chippers. That would be far better than letting them continue to run the world. It would produce far less worldly suffering if we did that. But this instinct will be used to make us go entirely too far, because we won't stop with elite PDs. Mission creep will happen. We will start with the PDs, and then it will be people who defend the PDs, and then the friends of them, and then maybe anyone who is gay, since obviously gays are disproportionately PDs. This is not the slippery slope fallacy. This is the slippery slope inevitability. Once you turn on the wood chippers, once you give people roles as head PD deleter, the new system will work to keep itself running. They will give the wood chipper treatment to anyone who even suggests turning off the wood chippers and merely locking the elite PDs into cages until they die of natural causes. And the justification will seem reasonable. Anybody like anybody who argues against putting the PDs into the wood chippers is themselves a PD. The logic works on its own. It is good to hate evil, but it is very stupid to be used by the powers and principalities mentioned in Scripture, even when we think we're doing the right thing. Satan is the prince of this world, and he is using our thirst for justice against us. I would love nothing more than to be the guy who puts the PDs into the wood chippers. I would love to be the head PD deleter. Nothing else can satisfy my urge for justice, but vengeance belongs to God, and he has better plans for the PDs than a few moments in a wood chipper. You cannot stop us by saying that we are being too harsh on our enemies. All of our enemies are PDs and PD defenders. No punishment is too harsh for them. Weak argument number 5. Turn the other cheek. What did Jesus really mean when he said to turn the other cheek? If you think he meant don't bother fighting against evil and just let satanic PDs run the show, then you're a dummy. But that's exactly how his words are used. The normie Christian tells you not to own a gun, just let criminals break down your door and do whatever they want to your family. Turn the other cheek. No, don't be stupid. We cannot build the kingdom of heaven on earth by being weak cowards. Weak argument number 6. Jesus was a peace and love hippie. Normie Christians say things like, research consistently shows that young people are leaving the church in significant numbers, with many citing the fusion of Christianity with right-wing politics as a primary reason. I took that from a Dogwater Substack article arguing against Christian nationalism. Maybe it was John Pavlovitz. Nobody knows who that is. Reality is precisely the opposite of what I just quoted. Young people left the church because it was run by leftists, PDs, gays, and boomers. Christian nationalism is rising precisely because younger generations are more right-wing, not less. Weak argument number 7, orange man bad. Left-wing arguments against Trump are meaningless. The left has no leg to stand on regarding Donald Trump. They are slaves to their TV. The TV told them for years that Orange Man called all Mexicans rapists, and leftists ate it up and asked for more. He wants you to inject bleach. Left-wing criticisms of Trump always fall flat because they're based on complete garbage nonsense. Left-wing preachers write articles about how white Christians must destroy white Christian nationalism. But here's the problem. Normies cannot stop the rise of Christian nationalism. The rise of Deus Vult Christianity is happening largely because leftists have destroyed modern Christianity. Left-wing Christians use the phrase hate the sin, not the sinner, as an excuse to let mentally ill men into the women's restroom. And if you stand against it, they say, you're attacking our precious trans brothers and sisters. If you want to call us bigots because we don't want men SAing girls in the bathroom, then I guess you can just cry about it. Actually, you know what? You're a heretic and you need to be removed from society. And now we see how easily our quest for justice and sanity gets co-opted by Satan. Here's the dumbest thing you'll hear anybody say, probably all week. Quote, Christian nationalism isn't a black problem. It isn't a Muslim problem. It's not a queer problem. It's not an atheist problem. It's not a Jewish problem or an immigrant problem. White Christian nationalism is a white Christians living in America who care about the teachings of Jesus problem. We're in this national crisis because white professed followers of Jesus have constructed a movement that minimizes, ostracizes, and disregards the voices of minority communities. If those communities' efforts to advocate for and protect themselves were enough, the MAGA movement and a second Trump term wouldn't even be a reality. The guy who wrote that is a pastor, by the way. He is the reason Deus Vult Christianity is on the rise in the first place. And his weakness only emboldens people like me, principled people. And most principled people are being funneled into Deus Vult Christianity because their thirst for justice is stronger than their ability to see where the puck is heading. These kinds of people who cry about white privilege and are also preachers, they may as well be the marketing director for Christian nationalism. Keep sending people my way, buddy. Okay, so Christofascism will rise. The arguments that I just outlined, they are made by people who have spent their entire lives drinking spiritual milk. They're these churchianity types who never strayed, good Christian kids who always did what the pastor or priest told them to do. They are good people, but they have no understanding of how the world works, and their powers of discernment have been dulled by decades of trusting the experts. They got the vax because they lack discernment. Deus Vult Christians are purebloods. We did not get the vax. Our discernment was superior to all vaxies. Hence, nobody who trusts the experts can stop us. We have no regard for the opinions of cattle. You people have destroyed the world through your ignorance and apathy. All your beliefs are absurd. So, let's circle back to the darkness waiting beyond the horizon that I talked about. So Christofascism will rise and Christofascism will fall. The purpose of World War III is to make Islam and Zionism mutually destroy each other. Christians will be dragged into this conflagration because our rulers are beholden to Israel, and because our rulers imported infinite Muslims, again at Israel's insistence. The so-called Abrahamic faiths will annihilate each other, and from the ashes, our rulers will give us a new religion. It will be, as Albert Pike wrote, the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Quick side note there, a lot of people say that letter from Albert Pike to Mazzini, that's not real. It doesn't matter. It's happening exactly as the letter has described. Reality is unfolding according to what that letter describes. So when Christofascism fails, our rulers will give us the light bringer. They won't call their new religion the Doctrine of Lucifer. At least that's not the name that they will use to sell it to us. They'll call it something like the Happy Time Peace Philosophy for Cool and Smart People, or Humanism 2.0, or Sapienism, I don't know. It'll be something normies can appreciate. People who post on r/Christianity, you know? People who are like, yeah, well, I was a Christian for most of my life, but seeing what they did in World War III, oh man, I don't know anymore. I don't know, guys. The elites will sell this new religion as something that, like, unlocks full human potential. You restore the light within humanity. Self-development, spiritual enlightenment, illumination, knowledge, individualism, enjoying the pleasures of the material world, find the God within yourself, reject religious hypocrisy. Another side note here, it is worth noting internal divisions between self-proclaimed Luciferians and self-proclaimed Satanists. The Luciferians claim that their philosophy is more about enlightenment and spiritual awakening, whereas the Satanists are more about earthly pleasures. These are two sides of the same coin, and both sides will be embraced fully by the global Luciferian religion that comes after the fall of Christofascism. Okay, so back on track. These rulers that give us the pure doctrine of Lucifer, they say they are not Satanists. Lying is second nature to these people. Their leader is the father of lies, so why would we expect them not to lie? They lie gleefully to themselves, and they lie to you even more gleefully. Lying is part of their religion. You can think here about the Islamic concept called taqiyya. Taqiyya says it's good to lie to infidels if your lies will expand Islam. The same thing is true in Judaism and Satanism. Christianity is the only religion that concerns itself with truth above all else. This is why Jesus Christ said, I am the truth. Truth is sacred to Christians, whereas lies are sacred to all other religions. Okay, Lucifer is called the light bringer, so if you have ever wondered why the historical period known as the Enlightenment was so bereft of Christianity, now you know. If you've ever wondered where the Illuminati got their name from, now you know. They worship the angel of light, they love fire, and they will spend eternity being consumed by flames. If any Luciferians are watching this, don't start crying when God casts you into hell. Remember, this is what you wanted. God gave you 1,000,000 opportunities to seek him, and instead, you chose Lucifer. This is what you wanted. And no, I'm not going to argue with you in the comments. I'm not a nice Christian. I'm a Deus Vult Christian. Go bother Wes Huff. All right, now we got to get super kooky and talk about the alien deception. Remember a couple decades ago when only fringe conspiracy kooks talked about aliens and UFOs? Now there's like 10 congressional committees every week talking about all the UFOs that are definitely out there, and these are not fake videos, those are real UFOs. The landscape did a complete 180. Now normies talk about UFOs, and cringe conspiracy kooks like me say, no, aliens are not real. The global rulers need aliens to be real because it's part of their final deception. It's also kind of part of Revelation 20, kind of, but not exactly. And so if you want to understand this alien deception, you should look into Satan's little season a little bit, because it's going to help you to understand what happens in the future. If it happens within our lifetimes, which I think it might. A key piece of the biblical end times is when Satan gathers an army to bring war against the camp of the saints and the beloved city. So one possibility is this. The mainstream media will tell you that there is an alien ship slowly coming to Earth. If you remember 3-Eye Atlas, that was basically a test run. The media tried saying, they're aliens, and everybody said, no, they're not, we're not buying it, shut up. So the media stopped talking about it. The media will say an alien ship is slowly coming to Earth and their intentions are not good. All nations must band together to fight against them. Some have speculated that this alien craft will be the New Jerusalem, which is the capital city of heaven. Perhaps the craft will land in the North Pole or something, and our rulers will want us to go to war to fight against them. So if you're asking how could all of humanity be convinced to go to war against the city of God, this might answer your question. People won't think that they are marching against God. If our leaders, after this global cataclysm, World War III, where we're all demoralized with Christianity and we need a new humanist religion or philosophy to help us, then it'll be easier to convince people of this dumb stuff. I mean, how many vaxies do you know, right? It's pretty easy to convince people. Just put something on TV and people believe it. So if our leaders tell us that hostile aliens are coming, then most normies will do whatever their TV tells them. People are gullible and naive. When their TV tells them something, they believe it. The good news is this. When the alien deception happens, we will be very close to the end of all suffering. Satan's army is defeated in the blink of an eye in the end of Revelation. And then after that, anybody who hasn't accepted Jesus Christ, you will go to the white throne judgment, where you will be judged based on your works. Have you been a good person? Christians will go off into their own judgment with the Lord, one-on-one, I think. So anyway, that's the alien deception, and then God defeats the army of Satan in the blink of an eye, and then we go to heaven. Or maybe not, depending on your works. And no, I am not preaching a works doctrine here. All right, how do we stop Christofascism? Normies cannot stop us. If you think homophobia is bad, you cannot stop us. If you are vaxxed, you cannot stop us. If you are not a conspiracy theorist, you cannot stop us. If you've actually watched this whole video, you're probably wondering whether anybody can stop the rise of Christofascism. Frankly, I don't think anybody can. There are too few people willing to go all the way to the core of these difficult issues, and internet algorithms are designed to obscure the truth. Hence, visibility is deliberately throttled when someone actually tells the whole truth. Satan is the prince of this world, and it does not suit him to let algorithms promote truth tellers. Normies will never stop worshiping abortions and transgenders. They will never let us have difficult conversations about race. They will never question what they've been taught by experts. Schindler's List made them cry, and so none of your careful mathematics will penetrate their blissful ignorance. Therefore, Deus Vult Christianity will continue to grow. We will gain more adherents, and we will become angrier with every passing month. More and more normies will be funneled into Christofascism because the world will continue to get worse. That is by design. Satan's allies are deliberately destroying the world via hyperinflation, open borders, gender ideology, enmity between the sexes, generations, races, and political leanings. This is all designed to lead toward the inevitable rise of Christian nationalism. Pete Hegseth has a Deus Vult tattoo, and his goal is to make the military cool again because our rulers need Christians to fight in the Middle East again. They need Islam, Judaism, and Christianity to destroy each other so they can usher in the light bringer. The multitudes will go along with the global doctrine of Lucifer. The majority of decent, honest Christians will march against the camp of saints. As it says in Revelation 20, in number they are like the sands of the seashore. I believe God will have mercy on those deceived normies, but I also believe you and I will be judged according to how we live our lives. I don't mean we will be saved by our works. I mean this. There are varying levels of rewards in heaven. Jesus tells you to store up treasures in heaven rather than on earth. We will not all receive the same rewards. Store up your treasures. As the script continues to play out, many of your normie friends and family will be stressed and confused. They'll be like, Iran just blew up the White House. We have to go fight them. You know, whatever false flag they do and blame on Iran. Can you believe what they've done? Many people will fall away from Christ as a result of what Christofascists do, like the atrocities that we commit in World War III. So that will make them fall away from Christ. We need to keep our wits about us. We need to be a calming voice in the chaos. Jesus Christ is our foundation, and nothing is more powerful than him. The Holy Spirit will guide us through the storm. Here's another problem for normie Christians. They are waiting to be raptured, and so they're going to have a hard time navigating the multifold deceptions that come their way. Because, when they inevitably don't get raptured up into the heavens, when they see the rapture deception happening on their TV screens and they see people rising up into the clouds to meet Jesus on CNN, when they see that, they're going to be like, oh, I didn't get raptured. Oh boy. And that's going to send them spiraling. They will be completely caught off guard because they are still waiting for the red heifer, the third temple, the Antichrist. They will be very easy prey for the alien deception. If you want to stop Christian nationalism, you'd have to share these predictions with as many people as possible, especially any Deus Vult people who you know. But this will not happen. The things that I am talking about in this video are way too strange for most people. But if you do agree with what I have said, I would like to congratulate you. You will be perhaps the only person in your life who will be able to understand what's happening and why. You have a responsibility now. Be kind to the people who are slower than you. They're scared, they don't know what they don't know, and they don't want to know. They want sports ball, they want McDonald's, but they are children of God. The truth has been hidden from them. The enemy has had millennia to plan his final rebellion. You and I have only arrived here at the truth by the grace of God. The details of this video don't really matter. Sure, it's nice to understand why things are happening, but worldly knowledge is overrated. Here's what's really important. The kingdom of heaven is the true Christian nation. I don't know whether World War III will happen in my lifetime. I suspect it will, but regardless, you and I are not citizens of this world. We are citizens of God's kingdom. We will spend eternity with Christ. This is the message you need to bring people. The worldly knowledge that I have detailed in this video is nice to have, and I spent decades to get to a point where I was ready to acquire this level of worldly knowledge. It has cost me everything. I could not have learned this stuff without wasting tens of thousands of dollars in college. This is the path God put me on. He gave me a relentless need to pursue the truth at any cost. And I found it. It took me forever, but I found it. I say again, The worldly knowledge is nice to have, and it affirms the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is Jesus Christ. The ultimate truth is that you and I will enter heaven because of his sacrifice. No matter what persecutions come our way, we must remain strong in our faith. Christian nationalism will rise for a brief moment. Afterwards, the persecution of Christians will be enacted by the new global religion of Lucifer, then the alien deception, and then heaven. So, keep your eyes on what's important. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a comment. If you hated this video, tell me why I'm an idiot, and I will see you next time.